Alright, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Cody with CF Tesla, and today we're doing a new install. Now it's been a while, so I gotta thank you guys who've all picked up one of the Let It Drive shirts. Join the family, join the movement. We have sold so many of these, and they're awesome. Come on. All the links are down below in the description. So now we've done a lot of stuff inside this car already. We have the hand chow screen. We have the moving adjustable left and right screen mount. We've done the automatic frunk. We've done the automatic trunk with the kick lift sensor. But there's one thing we haven't done yet, and to be honest, I'm kind of surprised. And that is replace this baby. I just haven't really found one that I liked. And then Hand Chow contacted me about, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, maybe last year, I'm not really sure. It said, hey, we're sending you out a new steering wheel. I'm like, okay. So today we're installing a steering wheel. All right, you guys ready to see which one I got? Now there were a few options, so we can go over the options later after we do this install to see what your actual options are there. I don't even actually know what this costs yet. We'll, again, figure that out later. But let's take a look at this. Look at this. Look at this baby. So now check this out. What you got here is you got this leather white, which matches obviously my interior. And then what you have is this beautiful carbon fiber all the way around it, all to the bottom sides. It's wow, it's just incredible. Now, before we get installing this, let's go over what exactly we need for tools. So these are the tools that I'm thinking I'm needing. And if you've seen any of my review videos, I always end up using like 5 times more tools than I'm initially thinking. But this is what I'm gonna need to kind of push on the sides, the little side holes to release the airbag. I'll show you that in a minute. Then I think you need a 10mm socket is what I've gathered from other videos. We'll check that. And then you're going to need a long extension here to my 3/8 drive. So we'll see. Some people have used a big extension on this, trying to get that 10mm bolt out. There's only one bolt, but we're going to see what I can do with this. So now here's what you actually need this little Allen for. There's not actually an Allen bolt or anything here that you need to, you know, be releasing or anything. What you have is, I'm going to show you on this one because I can't really show you on the one in the car very well, is on both sides you have this little tiny hole right here, and it's on both sides. You can see it there. And what that does is when it pushes through, it's going to push along these wire way down in there. Maybe you guys can see that. Maybe I'll even throw an arrow on it for you. And what the idea is, when you push on both sides of that, it's going to release the airbag. And I think you can do one at a time. If I can't, I'll get a second one. But here's what it looks like. So I'm going to push this through the hole here. And watch when I get right there. You see the Allen right there? Okay. I'm going to push on it, and it's going to release it. See how that moves it? Push, and it releases it. That's what you're going to be doing underneath the airbag, and that should release it right there. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do, because I really don't want this airbag blowing up on me when I disconnect it, you know, malfunctioning like things seem to do around me all the time, and hitting me in the face. So I'm going to disconnect the 12-volt battery first. Some people say disconnect the main power underneath of the driver's seat, but I'm not going to do that. Every video I saw, they didn't even do this. So I think I'm okay there, but I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to at least disconnect that. So I'm going to go into my app, the Stats app, and I'm going to hit the release on the frunk. And because I have the frunk lifts in here, it's going to automatically do it. Watch this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this off, which is really easy. It's just hold on by little snaps. It's super easy to take off. And that's where your 12-volt battery is. And then I'm going to snap off my air filter. Same thing, just little snaps. There's only 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, really easy. And then here you have your power. So I'm just going to put my 10mm socket on there and release this a little bit and pull that off. All right, so the first thing I'm going to try and do today is not die. It's 89% humidity right now, and it's going to be over 100 degrees today here in Washington. Worst time to be sitting inside a car, but first, let's get this wheel straightened out. Can't. What's your problem? Oh, don't have my phone on me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Hand Chow key, because it's telling me I need to, you know, have my phone on me, so or put the key down here. I'm going to take my Hand Chow key here, set it right here. And move it. So you got to have all the gadgets. There we go. Now we got the wheel straight. Now we can start. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come right here to this little hole right here, and we're going to pop that out. All right, so it's in there. All I got to do is press. Now what I think is supposed to happen is this is supposed to kind of pop out. So here we go. See, I missed it there. Oh, there it goes. See, look at that. Cool. Do it on the other side. And I think that was it. Still feel like there's a little bit of an attachment here, a little attachment issue going on. Maybe I didn't press hard enough. I'm also a little worried that when I put this back on, is it going to be a thing where I honk the horn a bunch? Why does everybody else always make this look so much easier? Or maybe they just don't show the hard stuff. I am curious though how this does go back in. Okay, that clipped and that clipped. Okay, so you can put this in without the horn honking. That was my first thing I was worried about. Let's get it back out again. It's crazy. It's like every video I watch, they pop, the thing comes right out. Every time I do an install, everything always has to go wrong, which I guess is why most of you watch my installs, because, you know, you think, well, shoot, if that idiot can do it, I can do it. Well, here I am, back to research how to get this thing off. See, look at this.
On the passenger side right now.
Watch.
And then you will see
you can see that
airbag actually pop out.
They're gonna just grab it and lift it.
That step 1 is now completed.
Is that really the way it worked? No. See, they cut, so there's probably a whole bunch of stuff in there that they didn't show as they fought with it. So now comes the fight with me. See, it feels like just on the bottom it's hooked, like it's still tight there. Whoop, clipped it back in. Oh, also one more thing I forgot to show you guys. After, you know, I've disconnected the battery out there, but you need to also come in here to safety and security and hit power off the car. And that's when you can see all my screens went off and everything like that. I mean, it's just best to shut it all off. You're gonna be disconnecting wires, and it's always a good idea. All right, I've literally watched like 20 videos on this, and everyone else's is just popping right out. No issue. Why is mine not? Whoops. All right, well, I'm seeing a lot of mixed information about doing 1 versus doing 2. And by the way, this is the 3rd time I've had to power off the car. It's gonna constantly keep coming back on, so just be aware of that. I'm gonna do 2 at a time this time and see if it makes a difference. Get this one right on it, pushing, this one, pushing. Aha, that's a difference. So, no matter what video you're watching, if you're having trouble getting this off, it's because you have to push with both of them. Don't listen to this crap about you can do 1 side at a time. You can't. You can pop it a little bit, but the full thing, it takes you to do 2 to get it out. Could have saved myself a ton of time. I should really put in a disclosure in the beginning, watch the full video before installing so you didn't stand there and do this with me at the same time and deal with all that. And now look at this. I do have to make a point and say that I'm very glad I didn't just get my face just smushed by an airbag. I thought there was a very good odds of doing that considering I didn't disconnect underneath the back seat to the battery itself, which, I mean, if you want to be really safe, definitely go ahead and do that. I don't think it's required, but if you go back here, I just have so many car seats back there that I figure it's worth risking my life, but you may not feel that way, and so just disconnect it underneath there as well. D-Eric has a video of him doing that on his if you want to do that, but you don't really need to. So here's what we're going to do first. We're going to pull this out and we're going to disconnect the airbag. So you've got all these sensors on both sides that run your wheels. You've got the power here that's going to go to actually your car. So first we're going to connect the airbag one over here. Just pinch somewhere. And again, this isn't the glamorous part that everyone likes to show, but don't pull on the wires, but trying to pinch on something. So as you guys saw, I ended up using my needle nose pliers again. I always end up using these because my fingers just do not really work with it. But if you see this clip here, these 2 little tabs inside of here both need to go in before you pull, but there's not a lot of room in there for your fingers, so yeah. Anyway, nice to see this thing stayed inside its cage. So next we're going to do that again over to this other side, which actually connects the steering wheel to the car. And I'm now just realizing I do not have I believe that's a 3/8 drive socket, whatever you call that. So I've got to now go and buy one of those. I've already bought all of this for this install. I didn't get the right thing, dang it. And look at this, it says steering wheel, scroll buttons, and horn unavailable. Yeah, you just can't keep the screens off. It just keeps continuing to come back on. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours since you've seen me last, and here's what's up. So I found out that they are not a normal socket. It's actually a hex socket, 10mm hex socket. I was gonna go buy one, then it turned out my neighbor had one, and so now we're good to go with this 10mm hex socket, which is basically like the male end. It's not a female, it's a male. And so yeah, then I got this great big, you know, bar that's going to give me lots of leverage. So let's do this. All right, now since I've already tried to do this, I'm going to pretend like I'm struggling. Okay, so I put this in here and I go to loosen it here like this. Oops, that's tightening. Let's do it the right direction. And you go up like this. Don't break your window. Okay, I've seen people do that. They come up and they hit the window there. Don't do that. Did it look like I was struggling? I am struggling to get it out now. Now I'm going to put this onto my other drive and we're going to loosen it. All right, that's it. And that's what's holding on your steering wheel. Next, I should be able to just pull this straight off. I did it. Sweet. And there you go. Okay, so now that we got that steering wheel off, 12-volt battery disconnected, or scheduled service. Oh my gosh, this happens so much. This clearly is not that big a deal. This can come on and off like that. It's really not that important. If you're really worried, just disconnect this underneath the rear seat. All right, let's get the steering wheel on here. Now, I tried to put the steering wheel straight, so when I put this on, I wouldn't have to try to figure out where to put it. It should go on, you know, really easily. So let's just get right on it here. Feels like that's where it is. Got some like wood chips in here. Okay, applying more pressure, twisting, trying to figure out how to get this thing on. See, underneath of it, there's a little groove for this to slide into. That's what I'm actually referring to when I say that there's this groove that has to fit into. And you can see inside here, it's the same thing. There's that little groove, and that's what I'm trying to make this all slide into. Feels like it should be right there. All right, so I got the steering wheel on. It's a little bit tighter than the other steering wheel was, so that's fine though. I just had to kind of wiggle it like this, kind of back and forth to get it in there. The most important thing is you got to make sure that you just get those slots lined up. I mean, it's a slot. You can't really put the steering wheel on wrong. So like you could feel it kind of click into place like it was supposed to be, then just had to kind of wiggle it on. So that's fine. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this, you know, kind of purple plug back in. So that controls your switches and all that on the outside. Next up, we're going to put the bolt back in there. And one thing I'll point out here as well is that you do still see some threads. It's going to look like when you put this back on that the steering wheel is not on all the way, but it is. You want to just keep, when you take this out, just keep track of just like how much room you had in there, and then you'll kind of know. So first I'm going to hand tighten this in, put my socket back on. So I'm going to get this as tight as I can. I'm pinching the steering wheel with my knees the best I can. All right, get that as tight as I can. And then I'm going to then put on my breaker bar. Now, here's the thing. You should probably use a torque wrench on this. I do not have one of those, so I'm going to just use, you know, put it back to about the same pressure it felt when I took it off. Again, if you're new to my show, always do as I say, not as I do. Good. We're real nice and snug now. Oh man, this is gonna be so cool. By the way, these up here are your horns, so you don't want to be pressing those too much if you're in the middle of the neighborhood. I bumped those a whole bunch putting this thing on, so yeah, try to avoid that. All right, so next we're gonna put in the airbag. So we're gonna put in this clip on the right first. Now we'll point these out. These clips right here, you can see there's great big circles. You really can't screw this up. You know, you just gotta, you know, this is so easy. Okay, so next we're gonna put this in, clip it in. Make sure that they clip in there. This one didn't make any sound when I clipped it in, so I'm going to just kind of wiggle it. I know I'm blocking the camera and everything, but just make sure that that can't come out there. And I'm going to line these up here. Okay. And then just like that. Yes! All right. Now, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go reconnect the 12-volt battery, which again just takes your 10mm socket. So we're going to put this back on, and yours is going to look a little different than mine. These wires over here are because of my electric or motorized frunk and trunk lifts, so you won't have that on yours unless you've installed them, which, hey, you're watching my channel, you might have. And let's get this back on. Next, we're going to put these clips back in here, followed by the cover. Press the shut button. And so you can see here that I have no warnings on my car, so everything should be working good. But let's go ahead and check to make sure the wheels are all working. So I roll my left one, my wheel, my volume is moving there. My right one's not gonna do anything right now. Actually, it is. You can see on my screen there that it's switching through all the CarPlay stuff on my hand-chow screen. Okay, so let's do one hard reset. So to do that, we're gonna press and hold both of these down. I guess not hard reset, just reset. Press and hold both wheels down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. And then this will boot right up, and we should be all good to go. And you don't have to do that reset. If you have warnings on your screen that are coming up that didn't go away, like still saying that your airbags and safety and stuff like that are not working, then you can hit the reset, and that should take that all away. With all my installs, almost always I've had all kinds of weird stuff come up on my screen, and then sometimes a reset will fix it, but for sure every time what fixed the problem was when I just let the car actually go to sleep. So allow the car to go to sleep. Then when I came back awake again, it was fine. I mean, it's just like, you know, your kids, when they're super grumpy, you put them to bed, they wake up, they're fine. My wife does that to me too. And there it comes. So So now to take it out and actually drive and see what it feels like, this is going to be the ultimate test. It's easy to install, that part's already done. One thing I can tell you right now is it does feel, especially through here, a little bit thicker than the original steering wheel, and it's kind of neat having two different tones. One thing you also notice is you have this line up front that shows you where center is. So when you're on autopilot or you're turning your wheel, you always know where the top is, which is kind of nice for watching your wheel going. I've always liked that feature. That's why they put those on there. It's great for autopilot. And but yeah, right here, I mean, you got these deep grooves that go in that your hand just rests, like it just grips your hand. And right here, there's this ledge that comes up, and it's really thick. And yeah, it just feels awesome. It just feels so natural to have your hand in there. I mean, this is top class right here. And on the back here, one thing you have as well that the old steering wheel didn't have is you have these little grooves where your fingers go in for holding, which is really great if you're driving up like this. So we're just getting back from my first drive here, went around, drove it maybe a couple miles, and for sure, I mean, it's not written in the description of it or anything, but I think it gave me like 35 more horsepower having this new steering wheel put on, so definitely pretty good. I mean, the wheel is it's just awesome. All right, just got back from that drive, and the drive was awesome. It was super fun driving with that wheel. It feels completely different. You could definitely tell you have a different steering wheel in your hand. The leather feels great. The carbon fiber looks great. I'm a little curious to see how long that white's gonna stay nice and pure white. I mean, if it's anything like my seats, it should last pretty well, but that's actual leather where our seats are more of a plastic. So we'll have to see how that actually holds up. So now obviously I'm glad I didn't die from the airbag knocking me in the head, but I took the kids through the drive-thru at McDonald's because I had to get them in the car like 4 times on this upgrade. And for the first time in years, I actually bought a hamburger there. How do they even call that meat? I had to throw that thing away after 2 bites. So you can see here that the prices range between $749 and $1,059 depending on the options you choose. So the steering wheel you saw me install today was the gloss carbon fiber with the Napa white leather. But you can look on their website and you can make this a little bit different. You can see the different options that they have here. For example, for leather, you have the normal leather, preferred leather, Napa leather, or Alcantara gray. Anyway, you can look at all the different options. I'll put the link down below to kind of make it kind of custom how you want. But the one I got is the one that's a little over $1,000, $1,029. So now you can see that if you apply my code into this, CF Tesla, it's going to save you a ton of money. In fact, on this specific steering wheel, it would save you $154.35, making the total price now $874.65. That's a massive savings. So make sure if you want one of these steering wheels or anything else on Handshell's website, you use my code CF Tesla and save yourself some money. So as always, I'll put it all down below in the description. So this was a fun install. I mean, I had to learn some things. I learned you have to use both of the, inserts, Allen wrenches at the same time to actually pop it. It sort of releases it on both sides, makes you think it's worked, but 2 makes it pop all the way out. So no matter what you see on YouTube, make sure that you go through and you push both to get it released. So that's going to be it for this one. Thanks for hanging out for another install. Once again, if you guys want to join the Let It Drive movement, all my links for my shirts are down below in the description. Make sure you subscribe for more future videos. And if this was somewhat entertaining, please hit that like button for me. See you guys on the next one.